Okay, so I just watched Supergirl, so let's talk about it. So Supergirl is the newest DCU movie, and this movie is an adaptation of the Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow comic miniseries. And this movie follows Supergirl and Ruthie, where after Ruthie's parents were killed by Krem of the Yellow Hills, she's looking for someone to help her get revenge on Krem, which leads her to Supergirl, who is celebrating her birthday. And so Krem shoots Krypto with a poison dart, and so Supergirl is forced to go after Krem and his gang to get the antidote to cure Krypto's poison. So yeah, that's pretty much the basic plot of the movie. So when it comes to Supergirl, I was pretty excited for this movie for a long time, because it is an adaptation of Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow, and I absolutely love that comic miniseries. I think it is fantastic. But the same cannot be said for this movie in my opinion. I think this movie was pretty disappointing, honestly. Now I will say it's not a bad movie, I just think it was fine. I just think it was kind of a fine and fun movie, but that's kind of just it. Now I will say this movie felt very generic. It felt like a generic space adventure featuring Supergirl. I was hoping for some cooler set pieces and maybe some cooler alien designs here, but everything just felt really generic. And when adapting the Woman of Tomorrow miniseries, they made a lot of changes here, and a lot of those changes weren't actually that good, honestly. Now, I wasn't expecting a one-to-one adaptation, of course, because comic book movies usually don't do a one-to-one adaptation, but they were trying to adapt the main story of Woman of Tomorrow. And yeah, they did adapt the main story, but they didn't adapt it very well, in my opinion. So because this is a movie, they had to cut out a lot of content from the book, so I get why we're missing a lot of stuff. I'm not complaining about that, but I'm just complaining about the execution of a lot of the stuff they changed here. Like, the biggest change they made was Krem of the Yellow Hills. I think in the comics, he's a great villain. Like, I wouldn't say he's up there with some of DC's best villains, but I thought he was a great and intimidating villain for the story they were going for there. But in this movie, they just made him boring, honestly. And they made way too many changes with him that just made him not great. Like, first of all, his design. Why did they have to change the design that much? I think the design in the comics works great. Like, yeah, he does look like just a regular dude in the comics, but I think that works well for him. And I think he can still be intimidating with just looking like a regular dude. While here he looks like he could be like a small Guardians of the Galaxy villain. His design is way too overcomplicated, and dare I say, his suit is kind of ugly. I just think his suit is just not a good change at all. And he didn't really feel as intimidating as in the comics, which was kind of disappointing. So yeah, I think Krem was honestly just kind of a boring and generic villain in this, honestly. Now I will say, I think Supergirl was an amazing character in this movie. I think Millie Alcock is a perfect fit for Supergirl, honestly. I think Supergirl's whole story in this, with her backstory and her character arc, was all really great, honestly. Now I did have some complaints about her character. Like, one, I was a little disappointed by how little she wore this suit in the movie, cause she isn't really wearing her suit a lot in the movie. And I do really like that suit, honestly. Now I have some problems with the suit, like I'm not a big fan of the unnecessary lines, but other than that, I think the suit is great. So it was kind of disappointing to see how little she wore the suit in the movie. And another complaint I have with her is that it felt like they had to nerf her all the time she was gonna be in a battle, which sucks because I do love seeing characters like Superman and Supergirl be at their full strength. I just think there's something so cool about it. Like, there was one fight in this movie where she was at full strength, and that was the best fight scene in this movie. I had a smile on my face throughout that fight scene, and I really loved it. So it was disappointing with how much she was nerfed here. Like, it felt like she was just nerfed because they couldn't find a clever way for the villain to get an upper hand unless they nerfed her. But I'm still excited to see Supergirl in the future of the DCU, because I did think she was a great character here. Now, another great character in this movie is Lobo. I think Jason Momoa is perfect for the role of Lobo, honestly. I think Jason Momoa as Lobo is one of the most perfect comic book castings of all time. and Lobo was a really fun character in this movie. Now, even though I really liked Lobo in this movie, he felt very unnecessary to the plot. Like, he didn't really change the plot at all. Like, if we were to take him out of this movie, pretty much nothing would change plot-wise. It felt like he was kind of just here for them to just introduce him and maybe see if we want to see Lobo again in the future. And yeah, I know Lobo isn't a part of the original Woman of Tomorrow comic miniseries, but I'm of course fine with them adding him here because he was fun, but I do wish they could have found a way to fit him in more into this movie and make him just feel a little more useful to the plot. And we also had Ruthie in this movie, and I think she worked fine enough. I think her character was way better in the Woman of Tomorrow comic miniseries. Although that might be because in the comics she was the main character of that series, and she was the narrator of the entire story. While here she is the secondary protagonist, with Supergirl being the main protagonist. So of course we didn't get as much time with Ruthie here, and we didn't get to know her as well. But I think she was fine here. Like, her story arc was satisfying enough, honestly. But she was kind of just fine. I didn't really have any strong opinions on her, honestly. Now I will say, I do wish this movie was a little more colorful. Like, the Woman of Tomorrow comic miniseries is super colorful. I love the artwork in that, and I was never expecting this movie to be as beautiful as those comics. But I was hoping for it to be a little more vibrant and colorful. Like, it feels very stingy, grimy, and dirty a lot of the time here. And it feels kind of colorless at a lot of times, which is pretty disappointing, honestly. And I am honestly kind of tired of a lot of superhero movies feeling very desaturated. I kind of just want more superhero movies with vibrant colors. Like, of course, this movie does have some parts with vibrant colors, and some parts of this movie are beautiful. But there's just a lot of parts here that are just very desaturated. But yeah, overall, I thought Supergirl was kind of just a fine movie. Now, it was a fun movie at least. I didn't get bored at a single moment in this film, but it could have been way better. Especially with the source material they were adapting, it could have been so much better. But this movie kind of just felt very generic and kind of just fine. But as I said earlier, I am still excited to see Supergirl in the future of the DCU. But anyways, I want to hear from you guys. If you have watched Supergirl, what did you think about the movie? Please let me know in the comments below. But I'll see you guys next time. Bye!